Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our Tuesday Treasure program, where we go through some of the lesser-seen objects in the museum's collection. My name, as always, is Nicole Carpenter, and I am the Programs and Collections Director here at the Westport Museum for History and Culture. At the museum, we are pleased to offer our free programming, but we do, as always, have a suggested donation of $5 for all of our programs, but we understand that this is still a very difficult time. Any support that you can offer the museum, however you are able during this time, is greatly appreciated. During our program, please, if you have any questions, comments, anecdotes, anything that you would like to share, please put them in the comments box, and our chat moderator will answer any and all that they can. Today, we are going through some of the objects in the museum's collection related to spring cleaning. Of course, spring cleaning is literally going through your house and your possessions during the springtime and clearing out. This typically begins at the beginning of the spring season, sometimes in March, but it can extend well beyond that period. There are several origin stories for the idea of spring cleaning. One falls just before the Persian New Year, which falls on the first day of spring. Many Iranians would, and many still do, practice the tradition of shaking the house, whereby everything in the house is very thoroughly cleaned. In the Jewish religion, in the week or two leading up to the springtime holiday of Passover, families would extensively clean their homes to remove any bread with yeast, including crumbs. In North America and many parts of Europe during the 19th century, March was the best time to clean because it was warm enough to open the windows and allow the spring winds to blow dust out of the home. It's also a time of year when it was too warm to use the furnace, which meant any residual soot on the walls or furniture could be cleaned. Of course, today, spring cleaning traditions have changed, and you will see some of the objects that were used in the past just now. This laundry press, or wringer, is made of maple and steel. It is dated to around 1880, and we know that it was created by the Lovell Manufacturing Company. Many styles came out in the 1880s of laundry wringers, such as this, but only two had patented laundry presses: the Horseshoe brand by the American Wringer Company and the Anchor brand by the Lovell Manufacturing Company, as you can see here. The wooden frame was made of hard maple, as I mentioned, with a galvanized steel frame. The wringer was often decorated with stylish block letters and other printed designs. This design also featured a bright red and blue paint, which has since faded away. The Lovell Manufacturing Company not only made wringers, but also rat and mouse traps, bed springs, step ladders, cash registers, and ball bearings, some of which are advertised on this laundry wringer itself. This laundry press would have functioned by taking wet clothing or other textiles and pressing it between the two rollers. The handle would have been used to turn these rollers, and water would have been wrung out of the clothing. In the 19th century, laundry was a very arduous, labor-intensive activity, but laundry presses and wringers such as this made the activity a little bit more convenient, a little easier for the women and children, mainly girls, who would have been assisting in the process. The next object I'd like to show you are soap sheets. Very similar to products that you may use today, these single-use soap sheets were literally used to clean one's hands. These soap sheets are thin strips of soap that were fashioned to be very portable and very useful for travel. These paper-thin sheets also included shampoo, body wash, shaving gel, and many more. The company who created this item is the C.B. Dolge Company. The C.B. Dolge Company was a chemical company that moved to Westport in 1890. under the control of two people, C.B. Dolge and his partner Max Hunke. To learn more about Dolge, check out our video Tuesday Treasures Innovation, where we discuss not only the chemical company, but one of the objects manufactured by the embalmer supply company as it became known. The Dolge family continued to manage the business, eventually leaving Alfred K. Dolge in control. The company has since moved to East Lyme, Connecticut, but in 2003, Alfred donated these soap sheets to the museum's collection. Mrs. Helen Wallace donated this rug beater to the museum in 1984, as well as several other examples of rug beaters. This example was created in the 1890s. It is fashioned with a wooden handle and a metal eyelet for hanging. It is described as a Victorian rug beater, and it is roughly 32 by 5 inches. In the 1800s, coal and wood stoves left residue on surfaces throughout houses. Therefore, rug beaters were necessary to keep the house clean. To use a rug beater, you would hang the rug or carpet out on a laundry line and would strike it vigorously with this beater many, many times. The length of this process would depend on how soiled the carpet was, and the more dirt there was, the more rounds of beating would be required. Just as laundry was a very arduous task in the 19th century, beating rugs was also very labor-intensive. This work was typically done by women during this period, and if the family had means or was a wealthy family, this was done by a series of housemaids. Rug beaters were normally made of wood, cane, wicker, steel, or some wire, with the purpose of beating rugs and carpets to remove all of the dust in the spring season. These rug beaters were woven, and some were more flexible than others. However, in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, carpet sweepers and later vacuums became a much easier alternative. Of course, rug beaters were very common across the population as they were extremely simple tools and typically were made of inexpensive materials. When it was first invented, the vacuum cleaner was a luxury. Only the upper class could afford them. After World War II, however, the middle class grew to be able to afford most vacuum cleaners as well. This final item is for one such vacuum cleaner. This paper pamphlet was anonymously donated to the museum in the last year. This 9x6 14-page booklet titled The History of Cleaning depicts a woman using a vacuum cleaner to clean the home on the front cover. The back of this booklet is stamped with the words, "Factory Outlet Salesman, John Seam, Westport." And just below the stamp, the Electrolux company logo is printed in blue. The booklet details technologies that were created for the purpose of cleaning and their evolution. Starting in ancient Egypt, roughly around 6000 BC, and ending in the then modern age of the 1950s. The pamphlet also describes aspects of the societies in which the technology was used. The final piece of technology described is a vacuum cleaner, accompanied by an illustration with the caption, "Cleaning with today's Electrolux vacuum cleaner is easy and fast." The illustrations, as well as the sections of the text, seemed to be mired in sexism and gender stereotypes, if you look closely. All of the illustrations show solely women cleaning, with only one exception, where a man is helping a woman use the cleaning apparatus. The language throughout the booklet also implies that cleaning is a woman's job. One of the pages begins with, "Thanks to the ingenuity of engineers, with many suggestions from women, there are countless items available to make house cleaning easy." While this statement seems innocent, it implies that women are responsible for house cleaning, but are not included in this group of so-called engineers at the time. The company that produced this pamphlet was Electrolux, a Swedish home appliance maker and the second largest appliance maker in the world. Founded in 1919, the company has reached across the globe, selling units in the Americas, Europe, and the Middle East. The company has produced many booklets, the majority of which being user manuals for the company's various products. These booklets were printed mainly from the 1950s to the mid-1960s, with some advertising booklets being published as early as 1933. We encourage you to tune in next month for our Tuesday Treasure focusing on glass plate negatives, where we'll be going through some of the photographic negative plates in the museum's collection. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next month.